I have a couple gaming stories here. The first from Forbes.com. The second is from Gamersubculture.com. Got them both up on archive, and I'll link them in the description box if you want to read them for yourself. But game streaming viewership drops in Q2, but Kick and esports bucked the trend. Basically talking about the overall game streaming fell by 9% during the second quarter. While you can undoubtedly attribute the downward trend to a post-COVID cooldown in online streaming, viewership still remains 97% higher than it was just 4 years ago. YouTube gaming actually rose 4.7%, while Twitch dropped 4.9%. Facebook Live dropped 56.7%, which is huge. As voids appear, new challengers spot an opportunity. Kick, which officially launched in January this year, and has since announced a raft of new contracts with high-profile streamers including XQC, Amaranth, and Destiny, has secured itself as the 5th most watched platform in the live streaming market during Q2 2023. They got a little graphic here and stuff. Okay, it's going up. Alright, right on. But anyway, this might not be as incredible as it seems at face value, given that it still only commands 2% of the market. But its trajectory is incredible. That sounds a little bit like shilling there, because it's like, hey guys, they're only 2%, but the trajectory is incredible. Let's see if they can sustain it. They went up 79% between the first week of the quarter to the last. Blah, blah, blah. Talked about how the unique channels are exploding, yada, 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 all that stuff. They talked about esports actually rose 4.1% over the same period. Nearly 2/3, 61% of esports viewership in Q2 was watched on Twitch, with the vast remainder taking to YouTube gaming. It's not surprising. Obviously, YouTube and Twitch are the two big ones. We'll see what the rest can do, but it dropped. But I mean, as the article said, it still is up 97% from what it was just 4 years ago. So it's like it may be the boom may be over, but it's still going to be doing really, really good, at least in terms of where it was. But anyway, the second story here: French President Macron extends olive branch to video gamers. The article kind of explains it. It talks about a stark departure from the previous criticism that Macron had, where he linked computer games, like it says computer games, to riots that occurred in France earlier this year. Basically talked about on Twitter, he began with a mission of guilt, yada yada yada, all this kind of stuff. The inspirational and developmental aspects of video games. He's a politician, just basically trying to cover his ass. Essentially, that's the thing. He stepped in it. Because what happened is, as it says here, background on the riots. The riots in question were sparked by the police shooting of Nahul Merzouk, a 17-year-old French-born individual of North African descent, in the Paris suburb of Nateri on June 27th. The incident led to widespread violent protests that quickly spread across the country through social media networks. During a government crisis meeting at the time, Macron criticized social networks for their role in fueling the unrest and also castigated video games, suggesting that some rioters were living out the fantasy depicted in games on the streets. As you can tell, that went over like a fart in church. Most people were pretty upset about it, so now he's soft-shoeing, he's backing away from it and everything. It's absolutely ridiculous to blame video games for any of this stuff. We've been through it before. I'll go through the list real quick, but whether it's rock music or I guess rap music now or whatever, violent movies, violent video games, etc. People always trying to blame that boogeyman. Comic books, D&D, it's the devil worshipping Dungeons and Dragons and all that kind of stuff. People always want to try to point the finger of blame at something instead of looking at what the true causes are and stuff. It's just ridiculous. As it says here, Japanese game director Katsuhiro Harada responded to Macron on social media, stating that blaming video games is a means of evading responsibility. Exactly. Anyway, he saw shoot out of it now and everything. He's vote for me, because basically it hurts him politically to criticize video games. That's why he's doing it. If it was politically expedient for him to do it, he would continue it, but it's not. So he's backing out of it because he's a politician. Well, almost all politicians. I don't want to say all, even though it feels like all, but I would say almost all politicians are lying pieces of shit who will say whatever they want, whatever they think you want to hear. Anyway, enough said for me. Like I said, I'll link these in the description box if you want to read it for yourself. I pretty much covered the whole thing, but maybe you want to read the whole thing for yourself. If so, have at it. Let me know what you think. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.